Hello. So my learning standard for this activity is develop a simple model that mimics the function of an animal dispersing seeds. So to be able to do that, my students need to understand what seed dispersal is in the first place. So for this activity, I will break up my students into 4 groups, and each group will be assigned an animal that disperses seeds in one way or another. Group 1 will have dogs, Group 2 will have deer, Group 3 will have raccoons, and Group 4 will have bats. So each group is going to be assigned 3 topics that they need to research based on their animal. Number 1, they're going to figure out what type of seeds that animal disperses. Number 2, they're going to figure out how the seed is dispersed by that animal. And number 3, is it harmful or beneficial to the environment? So once they've researched all of this and gathered their information, they're going to create a presentation about their animal to share with the class. In that presentation, they need to include all of this information, and they also need to find a way to either help animals whose seed dispersal is beneficial or a way to stop animals from spreading seeds that are harmful to our environment. So this is going to help them relate it to their world, and it's also building background knowledge for further lessons about like pollinating and how bees are essential to our environment and things like that. So I would differentiate by probably giving my lower students an animal that they can relate to on a more personal level, because for example, I would give my lower students the dogs. That is something that they've probably encountered in their real life, and it's something that I wouldn't have to build an experience for them. It's probably something they've already seen. And so it would be easier for them to understand what they're researching about that animal. And I would probably give my higher students group 2 or group 4, because seed dispersal by deer is not as highly researched as these other animals. And for group 4, for the bats, a lot of the seed dispersal that happens by them is in other countries. So there is obviously some in Missouri, but most of it is in places like Indonesia. So that would be more beneficial for my higher groups, the ones who have more experiences in their life and have more background knowledge and maybe are better at researching or reading. And so I would also want each group to play to each other's strengths. So I would want someone to decide who's going to be talking during the presentation, who will talk during the presentation, who will figure out data and how to show us the data and things like that. Maybe someone who's strong in math but not so strong in reading could do that instead of the reading of articles and things. So that is how I would do a fair test variation also, because we're looking at 4 different animals, not just one animal. And we're seeing how some animals disperse seeds just by, like dogs carry around cockleburs on their fur and those get dispersed that way, or bats excrete seeds, and that's how those plants get fertilized. And so we're figuring out how different animals do this, and we're also looking at whether or not it's helping or hurting the environment, which is an important part about seed dispersal. So that's all I've got. So I hope you like it.